Welcome to another video, where I will release my thoughts and opinions on the new job ability changes, in this case for the Paladin. I hope you like them as I do. Again, I'm relying and taking my information out of Mr. Happy's and Larry's video. So all of the shown content can be subject to change due being a provisionally version of Shadowbringers. But let us start right into the subject. Compared to the other tanks, the Paladin has way more that stays untouched or not changed in a heavy way, so let us just focus on the epic changes and new abilities to keep this video as short as possible. Starting with the removed abilities, again we will get rid of our enmity combo as well as the other tanks to correspond more to the new tanking style, through choosing either having our tank stance on or having it off as off tank. That means we will lose Savage Blade and Sword Oath in its stance version. Above that we are losing Shield Swipe, Bulwark and Tempered Will that no longer is needed due to having the arm's length roll command, protecting us from pushback or pull effects. But we will also lose Flash, so please 1 minute's silence and mourn to farewell this loyal companion. Okay, it had been time to get rid of that and instead to gain access to much more AoE variety. Like Grid as Dark Knight, Shield Oath has turned into Iron Will and only increases enmity generation while being an OGCD spell now. The Oath gauge is now available at level 35 through the passive Oath Mastery trait, so Sheltron has been put on that level as well, but its amazing worth, compensating the missing of Bulwark, will be unlocked through a passive trait at level 74, spreading its block effect over the full duration and not only a single attack. This is nice, but I think it takes out the active block feeling, because the timing of this won't be that significant like it has been. But let us wait how this turns out as a whole. Above that, cover is getting a gauge cost as well, and doesn't reduce the damage the Paladin receives anymore. A heavy nerf to that ability, which I welcome because it was one of our utmost overpowered abilities as Paladin, that was also able to evade complete boss mechanics, so it's a fair decrease at this point. Rage of Alone stays in the game as well, but turns into Royal Authority at level 60 with a nice potency increase and a new trait through Sword Oath at level 76, granting 3 stacks of it, but more to that later. Again seemingly to compensate the powerful damage outputs tanks would otherwise have at the lower level. Our MP will again be restored through Riot Blade, and in addition now with Spirits Within as well, through a level 48 trait Chivalry, and many more other abilities generating MP, which hopefully makes the MP regen a bit faster than it was. But otherwise, I'm not sure completely cutting out the unique playstyle of spamming Riot Blade to regain MP as fast as possible for emergency healing in solo content, for example. So this decision making seems redundant now and is turned into, if we fulfill a combo we'll get MP, which takes out playstyle variations and simplifies everything. All this could be a quality of life change to us Paladins, but limiting our field of required skill, some sort of, which I'm always scared about in any MMO expansion. But that may be only my concerns with simplicity. Following on that, a new weapon skill called Atonement is introduced, which deals 550 potency damage and restores MP as long as you have stacks of Sword Oath. I don't know if this is used like Imperial Arrow, meaning to be off the global cooldown, or as a general weapon skill. I hope for the first. Anyways, it seems to be kind of the final burst and MP regen inside of our fight or flight window, before we switch into our casting rotation. Which is no longer a casting rotation, through a trait for Requiescat at level 78, making every spell an instant cast. This again is another simplifier, but I think a cool one to have, granting the Paladin more mobility than ever, and making his rotation resistant against any form of movement mechanic. This mobility aspect is amplified by another great new ability, namely Intervene, our long-awaited gap closer with 2 charges like other gap closers in game, learned at level 74, an excellent addition to our ability arsenal. On our AoE department we are gaining Holy Circle, which is an AoE spell costing the same MP as Holy Spirit, with a 250 potency and a 1.5 second cast time. This, I think, could also be used in variation with our melee AoE skills, to save up some TP, even without using Requiescat. What you say? Oh yes, TP is gone, so just hit that button for its potency advantage over Total Eclipse and Prominence. And to say so, Prominence is another new ability, comboing onto Total Eclipse, granting us some sort of variation by restoring MP, which again gives us access to more holy circles. That already is a heavy boost in AoE quality of the Paladin, but furthermore we are receiving another skill that is a blast and really reminds me of the old Final Fantasy Tactics skills the Holy Knights like Orlando or Agrias have used. Confidio, in the form of a holy blade circling from below our target. It is a massive AoE spell with 800 potency to the target and every target nearby. Its only downside is that it is strictly bound to Requiescat and finishes its duration, so we should always use this at the end of our magical rotation, or when an insane amount of foes needs to be crushed by it on the last seconds. And these are the changes to come. Let me summarize and give you some feedback about it. First of all, again, the change of tanking stances in general is a really good idea to get rid of the enmity differences, and of the risky offensive tanking style, that was sort of redundant anyway, when enrages have forced tanks to enter that risk no matter what. So tanking should finally get more about the jobs you choose, instead of, hey dude, you tanking in Sword Oath? You're a tank, don't forget that. Mentioning Sword Oath, I'm really excited to see how that atonement ability is working and where it fits best into the rotation. On the other hand, all this simplifying of the complex decision making is a dance on a knife's edge, because it tends to make a combat system or content too easy and the own stage of evaluating their own abilities and talents too narrow. The best example can be the horrible PvP combat. But I think from this stage we are far away still, so let us just stick to the awesome improvements to the life quality of us paladins and the epic cineastic spells we're receiving. Therefore mentioning our mobility. Through the new Requiescat trait we are gaining a massive boost to our flexibility in dodging AoEs, while also not holding back our casting rotation, and delay it resulting in a DPS loss. Above that, our defensive department with instant clemencies is a blast as well. I cannot even assemble how useful this ability can get in dangerous situations, especially in solo content by all the MP restoring possibilities we are gaining. But undisputedly the best department that sees an improvement is our AoE variation and alternation. Not only with the continuation of Total Eclipse through Prominence, but also a perfect pendant in the form of Holy Circle, corresponding to it perfectly, giving new sense to stacking MP again to make us dealing heavily and deadly DPS in a burst of time. And maybe coronating our future AoE tanking through the Atomic Confidio, which I'm a bit hyped about. Just a little. And surely I know all of this may change until 5.0, but it's a good foretaste of what's to come, so I will embrace it. Or embrace darkness, if the light will defy me. What are your opinions on the Paladin? Feel free to discuss about the changes inside of the comment section, and also feel free to like, subscribe or hit that notification button. Thanks for watching, and we see us with the Summoner. Until then, take care.